Hello, hello.
Hey, is Andrea
Yes.
showing up today?
Unfortunately, no. He messaged me and said he would not be able to make it. Um, so yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but we can continue on without him. I think it's probably just gonna be me and you today, but we'll wait a couple minutes. Um, well, what was there something specific that you wanted to ask Andrea?
Nope.
Oh, gotcha.
No, it's just gonna be a short meeting.
Yep.
I got I've got this recurring 11:30 now.
Oh,
So,
do you? No,
yeah.
okay.
So, um,
So it kind of
but
works out in a way.
yeah, I mean, kind of, but went through a lot of trouble to get, permission to be at this meeting, but you know, new regime
Right.
and everything. So,
Gotcha.
are you still having uh, still working through legal issues to
Unfortunately,
contribute?
yeah. It's a slow process here at Apple, but we're getting there though. Like I think it's gonna happen. Um, hopefully soon. I don't know what soon means. I mean, it's legal. Like soon to them could be like a year, but like so it really just depends. But once that happens, like yeah, we're gonna get the ball rolling. In terms of contribution. So I think it's gonna be really nice when that happens. Just a question of when. But yeah, I'll let you guys know definitely whenever that occurs.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, I think it's just going to be us three, as I stated earlier. Andrea's going to be out today, so it's just going to be us three. But one thing that I wanted to kind of like repurpose this meeting for, as well, just for today, is we have a couple demos. One demo was supposed to be for the implementation SIGs, but I actually had a conflict, so I couldn't attend. But originally it was supposed to be demoed there, but we can use this time slot to demo kind of some of the code generation ideas, which I think will be really nice to see, and kind of give you guys some information on some ideas that we have. So yeah, so I want to first kind of go over the roadmap. I don't know what Andrea has said about this, so it's a little. I'm still waiting. I'll ping them again on it. Um, and then this is an active issue, so I'm gonna which is this is that confusing type enum. I think yeah, you opened this one, David. Which I think the code generation actually solves this indirectly. So I'm wondering if we can move the milestone from zero point 0.5 to like maybe 0.6, because I don't think code generation is going to happen in 0.5. I really don't think so. But the major issues with our enums right now is one, we define them differently, kind of like all over the place. So it's not consistent for the SDK. It's making code generation already that much more difficult when it already is. And then also on top of that, there's limitations on what each code generation can potentially do. So those are kind of the issues there. But like I said, I think we can potentially solve this with the code generation. So I'll leave that up to the discussion once we do the demos, because I think this would kind of like will rely on that. And then depending on what you both think, we can decide to either punt it to 0.6 or keep it at 0.5 and see if we can just at least make it consistent in the schemas first and then move them to the code generation. We can go with like a more incremental approach as well. I think that might be more sufficient. So yeah, and I think that's kind of the only thing on my roadmap. So I'm going to try to get that done or decide on something on for this week's sprint on that. So, um, and then outstanding PRs, which we have mine. Let's see, did anyone respond? Nope. And then we have standard values of outcome. Okay, so no one responded to that either. Yeah, so this is the standard.
Sorry, did you share your screen or not?
Oh, yeah, I did. Can you guys not see it?
No, I see nothing. I will restart my
Oh,
session.
Brett, can you see?
No,
No.
maybe it's an issue on I'm switching between computers these days, so
Oh,
maybe
okay,
it's an issue.
okay. Wait, Brett,
No,
did you say?
it's just a black line.
Oh, it's just a block. Oh, wait, okay, give me one sec. All right, so I've been talking this whole time. Sorry about that. All right, let me try this. Can you guys see now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, weird. Okay, so sorry about that. I had no idea. Um, okay, what I was talking about, I'll step back a little bit. So we have this um enum string, which I was mentioning that we're inconsistent on how we, model enums, which causes this inconsistency causes code generations to be a lot more complicated because they have to like now cater to the various different ways that we model this. So David opened this issue, and I agree with what he says, but it's just unfortunate. JSON schema just allows you to do like any number of ways of doing things. And what I was mentioning is that code generation should be able to handle this, but we can always go at it from more incremental approach where we make it consistent first in the schemas, just kind of do that more methodically and just get that for 0.5, and then for 0.6 just do the code generation portion of it. So that is always an option. I think that's probably the approach that we're going to take. But I think this should help with your concern, David, just making it consistent, like basically, um, seeing if we can just like come up with a standard way, like all enums need to look like this, basically, and then propose that. And then once we got kind of get an idea on what all enums should look like, then we can kind of like figure out how code generators should handle them, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that's sufficient for this issue, David? Would that work for you?
Yes, yes. I just
I,
send it because I have the issue, but today we agree to support a string. So
yes.
we
I-
we
All
could
right.
move
Perfect.
forward and hope that code generation will help fix some
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely, definitely. Okay, great, great. So I'll go ahead and mark. I'll lay out the conversation that we just had in this GitHub issue. And I think we can do a little bit of work, but it looks like I mean the work that we can do can be for 0.5. So I think that'll be really, really nice. So I also went into the new thing that we're going to start doing. So basically the format of these working groups now, at least when I host them, is always looking at the 0.5 roadmap and then going over like outstanding PRs, just to make sure we don't miss anything. So one that I created yesterday, or sorry, last week, was fixed consistent casing. So this actually doesn't touch the schemas. It's only documents. So the documents now refer to the correct thing. So this is all within documents. So if anyone could just actually review this, like that would be really, really helpful on my end. Because like I said, this isn't touching the schema, it's just documentation. So we just need to get the okay. And once that okay is done, we can merge that and then close the issue. Um, and then if we go to the other PR, so this is by you, Brett. So I I pinged Andre on this. On the consistency, but I don't know if he responded any. So I'll ping him again because I'm okay with merging this outside of the, like whether or not we want to keep canceled or not, which I think we do. So that's what we talked about last time. So right now, we
Yeah,
have what's
I
that?
need to go add cancel back to this before we merge it.
Yeah, definitely. What I was gonna
And
mention though,
is it cancel or is it canceled?
I don't know. Given that these are
Success,
succeeded,
failure,
it
cancel.
isn't succeeded or failed. It's
Right. Okay.
success or
Yeah.
failed. Maybe it's canceled. Yeah. But yeah, this is just standardizing, what um yeah, what the what is it called? The outcomes enums look like because they're kind of like all over the place. I
Yep.
think yeah, so that's what this one's doing. So I really appreciate the work you did there, Brett. I will ping Andrea again, and if he doesn't get back to us by the end of this week, Brett, and you add cancel back in, I'm gonna go ahead and merge this. And then if Andrea has issues with it, we can always iterate on top of it. I think that's the better approach at this point. So once you get canceled in, just ping me and we can go ahead and merge this. All right.
All right. I'll see if I can make some time this week to get canceled in.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And then, okay, so this one is URI. Yeah, so going from URL to URI is an absolute better noun for describing this. So yeah, I think we also wanted to do this. Let me see. Can we base main? The POs are based. Okay. I will go ahead and review this today, David. I think we are good though, because when I was looking at you were just renaming everything, the format URI, yeah, format URI, string URI, yeah. Format URI. Okay. Yeah, this is good on my end. So actually I'm just gonna approve that right now. And then same
There
thing
is
with Brett.
with
Was that?
with this one, I have it is not part of this PR, but it could be. If you go to file change, you will
Yeah.
also notice that sometimes the field is named URL, sometimes it's named
Oh, you're right. That's what I was mentioning. Yeah.
URI, sometimes it's view URL. So
Mhm.
I would like to, part of this PR is also, should we rename the field
Yeah.
name also?
Yeah, agreed. So I'm gonna actually request changes on that because that's what I thought was happening here as well as format URI because yeah, it's definitely yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's rename these because yeah, I think that's definitely gonna be needed. Once you rename them, like I said, ping me and I will go ahead and merge this because I definitely think we need to be consistent with using URL versus URI. And I think URI is the more appropriate noun to be used here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, cool. And then let me see, what else do we have here? I think we had outcome. Yeah, because there's no outcome to build finish. Did anyone? Oh, so it looks like there was a few. Oh, I think this was in a, kind of like a weird state, actually. Yeah, okay. I need to go back and fix this one. And then replace. Yeah, this is also replacing URL with URI. So yeah, once you update your PR to replace URLs with URIs, this will PR could just be closed as well, and we can just update it. Let me see. I just want to make sure. I think a new is backward compatible, but removing URL is not. Okay, so this is about backwards compatible. Since 0.5 is going to be a breaking change, let's just rename it to the appropriate thing. I think makes the most sense. Okay, cool. So that should be good. All right, so that should be nice then. And then that was the main thing that we usually do now for the working group. Was there any questions or any other action items that wanted to be talked about before we kind of go into the demo?
No, it's okay for me.
Okay. What
No,
about you,
I'm
Brett?
good.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
All right, let me see if I can. All right, I got a bunch of stuff here. Demo my stuff. All right, let me increase the screen as well. All right. Can you guys see this okay? All right, so let me I think it's called plus um oh wait, maybe it's over here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, cool. So I'll kind of show you some context. So as you both know, we've been looking at different ways of code generation, the various different modeling languages, and one of the modeling languages was Pickle. So Pickle is a code generating tool. Well, it's not code generating; it's actually config generating. It's a config generating tool. And I was working a little bit with it, and I realized that you could actually generate JSON schema from Pickle. So rather than completely replacing JSON schema, we can actually just generate JSON schema, which actually makes it easier to maintain. So that's the biggest benefit here. While also supporting all the old custom code that we've written, et cetera. But we want to slowly in the future get rid of that custom code and move to a more single code generator as well. So I'll kind of show how Pickle works and kind of like how it's like what the benefits are. So if we look at this, I created this shared context object. As you know, in every CD event, there's this shared context between every single event. So anytime we update any sort of JSON schema, we have to write the same event or same object for every single event and modify it every n number of times. However, with this approach, we can actually just do version, just put the version right in there like that, 1, 2, 3, or whatever values. And we have this artifact deleted, and we can kind of show, yeah, like basically just include these two things, the subject and context, and then you just generate it. So this is like generating a conformance test. I just commented that out because that's how you would generate a conformance test. You would just say, hey, context equals this, source equals this, for example. And that would actually generate a conformance test with the JSON that looks like this. But if we go back to now subject, because I want to show that, subject is very simple, has type, source, and then content, which is just some arbitrary object. And this shows you what the conformance test would potentially look like, which is that comment out code as well. But when we do this now, this should output this, the JSON schema. So this actually generates the JSON schema, and it's a lot more readable, right? So like you see, the whole thing was just literally just including these two things in the subject. And the subject could be, extend. So Pickle has like inheritance, so you can extend from subject and then add like a content type, et cetera, like a more strongly typed content type. And it makes it very, very easy to use. So this is very, very, I think the biggest benefit here, it makes maintainability really easy and relies back both again on JSON schema, which gives us that validation that we had some concerns about. So I think that's the major benefit there. And then another thing that's really, really nice is that Pickle also has support for enums, which I think it's some format, but it could be like foo or bar. And it will consistently generate the same JSON schema every time. So it's not like a one-off. So it'll actually know how to do this. And then further, you can also add so if you add like a comment here, I believe this also a context object, it will actually add that in the JSON schema. So if we do val again, maybe not. Let me see. Okay, maybe not. Let's see. Maybe it needs to be in here. Artifact deleted comment. This is, let's say, context comment, and then subject comment. And then I think we can do this, and it should add the comment somewhere, or maybe not. Okay, well, I had it working before. Of course, I touched it and broke it. But yeah, basically, when you use comments, it should be able to actually throw that into like the description. But it's just not working right now. I don't know what I did to mess it up. But basically, it could extract that information and put that in the JSON schema. So that was really nice to see as well. So that's kind of the benefit of Pickle. And like I said, I think this gives us a more iterative approach on handling code generation. As opposed to like completely like just like, replacing it 100%. So it's kind of like, I thought the major benefits there, and I know we have a GitHub issue that kind of outlines the differences between the tooling. So I can do all my findings and update that table that you created, David, and expand on this, because I really like this. It makes it very, very easy to use and read. So yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts?
So, quite convenient that it's an Apple thing.
Oh yeah. What's funny is that I didn't
It's
even
been spitting under your nose this whole time.
It was, and what was funny is I didn't even recommend using it. David actually brought it up, and I was like, you know what? It's an Apple thing. Maybe I should look into it. So, because we have the Pickle team at Apple, I just went ahead and talked to them, and they kind of gave me the lowdown on like what we could potentially do. So yeah, that makes it very, very easy for us to use as well, because it's something that we have teams for that work on this. So if we need something kind of specific, we can always ask as well. So that's another really big benefit. But one thing I didn't want to come out want to make it seem like it's happening because like I'm always wary with like trying to I feel like it's almost like you're trying to advertise like company stuff like into another open source project, and that's not what I'm doing here because like I said, like this wasn't even recommended by me, but I felt like it was appropriate for me to investigate because it is an Apple thing. I can talk to those people, so that's a little bit of context there. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Brett. It is an Apple owned, but it is open source as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I just thought it was funny. But it looks like it's pretty decent. It looks like it's I mean, that is pretty simple to create stuff.
yep. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, like I said, approach that we can go with. So I do really like it because it does, make it or does allow us to continue using our tools, and it's more of an iterative approach. So that's kind of the biggest benefit there. But yeah, so that's kind of like it for my demo. Were you gonna demo today, David? I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll stop sharing then and let you take over.
Let's see if I have to so can I share? I will have to restart for the
Oh
permission.
yeah, for permissions. Yeah.
Just a second. Okay. Okay. This one. You can see my VS Code editor.
Yep. I can
Okay.
see your web page that's like a sandbox CDEvents spec, but I don't see your
Yes.
editor. Oh, okay.
It's the MD.
Oh, that
yes.
is the editor. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So everything is on one of my personal GitHub project. If you want to take a look, the GitHub project is davidb/sandbox CDEvents specs. I try to put all my notes in the README, so everything I will say is in this README. So for my experiment, it's not 3, but now 4 items. I try to have 4 predicates just to have a sample with at least two predicates and 2 subjects. And also for the code generation to have twice the same subject, same predicate, and twice the same subject. Also to detect some of the issue. So as I said, I should put again the diagram here. The purpose of my test is how can we generate the code for Java, Python, Go, Rust, etc. But also maybe how we can generate the test and include the description from the spec into the documentation, generated documentation, or maybe the sample, and if the sample can also be used for test unit. And also, sorry, be able to generate the Markdown documentation, because today we still have on one side the Markdown and on the other side the spec, and we try to keep them in sync. And possible customization. As I will show, customization is now mandatory of templates. So I start, just for the history, with JSON schema. So in the repository, there are two two folders, one based on JSON schema and one on OpenAPI. On JSON schema, I made some difference. One of the purposes is to have a single entry point. In all the experiment, I use one entry point and not several as today, as we have one for each event. In my case, it is only one. Why? It's because our generator often takes one input to generate a bunch of classes, etc. And it's one of the main issues that we have. Today, it's that we have to loop over a generator, or what else, or create custom stuff. And so the entry point is CDEvent in this case. And being able to use also this single entry point simplify some of the stuff that we already start to use with link. I mean, using reference to use local definition, and that will join the experimentation that you also made with Pickle is we could share definition of some types. In this case, I say an ID is always a string with min length once. I try to reproduce what we have today. And for artifact published, by example, I say the ID is of type ID, source is of type source, etc., etc., etc. So you could browse it after if you want. One of the limitations with JSON schema today is there is no constraint polymorphisms, I could say. We have one off, any off, all off. But, and it's one of the issues, there is no discriminator. Discriminator is not part of JSON schema, it's an addition on OpenAPI or async API. So it means that today when we create a generator with one off, it's what we name untag definition. It means that the parser will try to infer the type regarding the structure. And if we have two similar structures that are different just by the name, it will pick randomly one or the other. And we have several predicates, I could say, that are very similar inside one artifact. So today, with JSON schema, I have some of this issue to generate, to have a parity between what is sparse and what we have today. I quickly try using QuickType, but I use it in the past in other project, but it doesn't support the latest version of JSON schema, only the draft 7. I also give a try to schema tools, but I have some issue. I don't remember exactly which one. I didn't notice at this time. But it seems that schema tools is a Rust project. Jung, I will talk more about it later. But it supports discriminator as some kind of extension. I have to test.
Pickle does as well, and it can generate JSON schema with discriminators. I wonder if we can just combine both solutions.
Oh yes, maybe. But yes. So, but what happens is on some parser or validator, if I put discriminator, I have an error because it's not an extension. So I have an error because it's an additional field. It doesn't start by x-discriminator. So some JSON validators say it's an invalid field. You should not have discriminator.
Okay.
So some parser failed also at this point. So it's why I switched to OpenAPI. I should. So to run on OpenAPI, it's a bit more complicated. If you want to run everything on your laptop, it will be possible. I use mainly two tools. One named Miz. It's used to set up stuff. So when you install Miz in your project, you can say, hey, I have this version of Java task and Node.js in this case. And it will take care of installing everything. Sorry. So Miz install, blah, blah. And then I use a task to, it's like make files, but a little bit more powerful. and I use task to chain some command. So yes, so at first I try with OpenAPI 3.0 because it's more supported by it's supported by more tools, but quickly I raise some of its limitation. I made one of the main advantage of 3.1 is it supports JSON schema, the latest version, but mainly it's allowed to use ref, but also to override part of the ref. I mean, I could use ref to, by example, to define a type, but I could override the description. And in our case, it could be, it allowed to have a type for ID with a default description, like a class description, I could say, but also have a field description for a place where it is used. So it's also allow me to, at least in terms of definition, to do it, but less tools support it. In my case, all the tools I work with support it more or less, I could say. It's a tag in beta for some of them. I use the YAML format instead of the JSON format. Why? Because it's more readable, and also it's easier to write a description with YAML than with JSON, simply because in YAML we have multi-line string. I will show you, and I create a pretty empty API .yaml. It's just because it's an open API, so I should have one, but with an empty stuff. So the spec in this case is these files, could say pretty empty with the version, etc. And where I just say, hey, the entry point is CDEvents. So I will not read the full README, you can read it, but that is one, the preview one. But roughly I create two versions. One I name v4m for small modification. I mean, I tried to reproduce what we have, but I made three modifications that I would like also to submit to appear in the official one. It's just to move, the main is to move the context type. Today, it's one of the issues that we have with most of the generator. An important point is we have the type defined in the context. So from this reading, we know what is the kind of subject and what is the kind of the predicate. But the issue is that it's not a sibling information regarding the types, and often discriminator generator look at a sibling field or a nested field, but not on a nested field on a sibling structures. So it's why I move this field from into this from the context. I move out of the context and I move it into the subject. And it means that we could have something like this. I mean, subject. With it's one of, in this case, I have only the 3, so it's one of these 3, 1. It also means that later we will have other story. Sorry, the noise. And then the discriminator, where I say use type, and you can use this mapping. So it means this value is mapped to this structure. And in this case also, I define one type, I could say, per stuff. But one of the big issue of this approach is as we define one level of discriminator to mimic, I mean, we have the artifact and the predicate, the subject and predicate linked together into a single type. It means that this type is always the pair So we have duplication. So it means that we have some kind of duplication, and we cannot use all of. We could extract, but in this case, we will only extract three fields. So not a big, 2 fields, so not a big win. And we have to duplicate all this information. So lot of duplicate information. And it's why I moved to V6. So I already anticipate that we will not do the change in the version 5. And in this approach, I was more free, and I use like an object-oriented approach or a structural approach. And it's also why I also use it this way to be more like what we have currently in the Markdown definition than what we have into the spec or JSON schema. I mean, I have one entry for CDEvent as before. I also say subject could be artifact, etc. But by examples, I didn't define, I didn't say artifact deleted, etc. I say I have artifact, and inside artifact, I have 2 kinds of predicates. I rename the content field into predicates. All the change regarding our current spec are listed. I try to list them in this place.
That's actually really nice. I really like that approach. Like it's more like you said, but I can see why you kind of went this route. I think it makes it very, very flexible. One thing I'm kind of curious about, sorry to kind of like interrupt right here, is
No, go.
have you tried code generating not only for Java but for other languages? Because I'm wondering how that would work for like other languages.
Yes, so I will jump directly to this part. Feel free to look at it after.
Okay, cool.
I made some comments on some tools. I will give you a demo with the OpenAPI generator. It's the one on which I spend more time. It's one of the leader, I could say, in OpenAPI to generate stuff. We use another tool in my previous company. We made our own tools, to be honest, at the end. But so I will just give you a demo that you may be able to do it. So CD Open API task. So you can list them, and I will generate for all of them. So yes, CodeGen. So we take care of downloading maybe the jar files, etc. There are several ways to run these tools. It could be through Docker, etc. But I have some issue with Docker. So it generates everything. Up. Let me just refresh under build. For Go, Java, and Python, I didn't made some customization, etc. I try to do some customization for Markdown and maybe for Rust. So you ask for Java. So as you will see, I made some customization because I share some customization. What is generated is I try to reproduce what we have in the spec. So it means that we have it's what we have today. So for timestamp, as it's a known type, it's become, by example, offset that times, but we can choose another one. But it's pretty simple structure, I could say. So everything for the subject predicate was generated. I didn't generate, what I don't do is in the configuration, I will show you. I create some configuration files per generator. I ask to only generate for models. I didn't ask to generate the APIs, the HTTP client,
Gotcha.
etc. So it's
can you go
and
up
the
real
project
quick?
stuff.
I want to look at the artifact class that it generated. I want to see like what it looks like. Because I know that's a union type. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what did it do?
Alors, so for union type, etc., it's one of the issue. What he made is, by example, for union type, for predicates, it's exactly this case in this. He creates one class name predicate. I rename it. It's not the default name, but it's artifact predicates, and it's when you receive the artifact predicates that is able to parse. Today I
Oh,
was
I
not
see.
able. I
Yeah,
was not
yeah.
able to make some test, and then if we look at published, artifact publish is just the predicate part.
So
Because
where's artifact used though? Is it not used anywhere?
artifact is used in CDEvents. It's really a reproduction subject. So artifact is a subject, and if we go to subject, so behind the scene, check
Oh, I see. I see stack. Yeah, yeah.
static.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, cool. I was like really confused by that. Okay, that makes sense. Awesome.
In
This looks great.
so I made the generation for the several types, so we will be able to look at what is generating regarding our favorite language, I could say.
Mhm.
For Python, it's more clear. If I look at subject, so subject is based on tick, but artifact should extend. No, it don't extend subject. I don't remember. There is some kind of type. For Rust, it's more. It's okay. I have to test. I focus more on creating this stuff. Don't spend enough time. It's one of the issue. I have some issue with this tool. To be honest, it's also why I'm looking at other tools. One of the issue is, and it's mainly common to other. How all those tools works is they create a memory data model. So it's what I put in the conclusion, temporary conclusion and feelings. So they create a data model, and then this data model is used with a template engine to create what you want for each language.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
two
I think
issues.
that makes sense. Okay, so one thing, all right, so I really like the concept. I really like the flexibility. Um, One thing I am mostly curious about is um mostly Go, and mostly because Go is a very weird language. So I want to look at the code generation more for that. I'll do it offline, but because it's a very different type of language. But I think it should probably be fine. Yeah, it actually looks like it generated it pretty nicely as well. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good, surprisingly. Okay. Awesome. And then what are your takeaways from the code generation from using Open API? Do you feel like it's a pretty good tool for our use case, or do you feel like there's still some limitations that we need to solve for? It looks like it handles everything pretty nicely, actually.
So it's what I put in the conclusion and feelings.
Oh, okay.
Today, how I can resume the tools the generator I explore seems good to generate basic, minimal. Sorry, not basic.
Hmm.
Minimal stuff with just the struct, etc. But it's not enough in the meaning for Rust, I have to put some annotation to do property-based testing, to
Gotcha.
tweak how the JSON is parsed. For example, for we use in our spec URI reference. It's not something that is by default supported by those generator. That times, yes, because it exists for a long time, but not some other type. So for type scalar type, what I'm string, etc., but we maybe need to override, etc. So it's why templating is important. And my guess is that we will have to create our own template for each language. And it's where we also start to see some limitation. Open API generator, by examples, allow to customize a lot of stuff with templates, but they decide to use a logicless template, Moustache. So no loop, it's not Go template, as you maybe are more familiar. So a lot of limitation. And the purpose is you can avoid those limitations by create your own data model, way to create the data model. And it's exactly what they suggest to do. So you have to create Java, Open API generator is written in Java. So you have to create a Java class to package it. And then try to create everything for every test you want maybe to do. You have to create is blah, blah, blah field. And when you print the data model, you have one data model for Java, one data model for Rust, one data model, etc. So a lot of the complexities in Java class. And it's also where I try to look at alternative where we can move this logic more in template and have a single data model, and maybe a data model that is near than to the Open API syntax, I could say. It means also being able to have extension. One of my idea and what I try to do, by example, is to have an artifact. I add an extension, I guess, not on, I don't use it on this one, but
I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. You didn't write a template, a custom template, a mustache template for this demo, right? Like I don't think I saw one.
One of the big cool stuff with Atlas, with Open API generators, are a pretty big community, I could say. So by default, they provide a bunch of templates.
Okay.
So for Open API generators, there are templates for client, template for server. In this case, I use template for clients, but also but only to generate the models. I use them as is, except for Markdown, where I create my own just to test if it's possible. And when I create a Markdown one, but it's in the illustration. What I would like to do for Markdown, it's exactly as we have today, is artifact on our Markdown code is grouped by stage, core, test, etc., etc. So I create my own extension field named xstage, but I'm not able to use it as is in Moustache because Moustache doesn't allow to test if this value exists and if the value is equal to core or to group data.
Gotcha.
So that's where we have one of the limitation. And so it's why I'm looking at other tools. What I didn't look at yet, so the approach I'm more, so I give a try to Open API generator. Lot of good stuff. I didn't look to Swagger CodeGen because Swagger CodeGen is
Swagger is basically gone. Like it's replaced with OpenAPI. I mean, like it's not gone, but like
no, it's not gone. But OpenAPI generator is a community fork of Swagger CodeGen,
yes.
So much more support, etc. I look at mostly unknown tools, but I discover because it's part of my ecosystem named Schema Tools. I'm more aligned with their approach when they try to have a single model and then use a richer template engine to create what you want. They support JSON schema, etc. But it's very early. There is no powerful template existing. One for for Rust, but that doesn't match what we have today. So some issues, extra you could read. I start just today. Last week I didn't work on this topic, but today I give a quick try to, as mentioned on the etiquette last week, I give a quick try to async API tool stack. So it's why you see a Node.js on this repo. It's nearly the same as OpenAPI generator. I could say instead of using Java to do the templating, you have to use JavaScript to create your own template, I could say. So I have to dig more to look at it more. But the approach is nearly the same. You have to create your own generator in each language. They provide by default some generator for few language, etc. Today, to jump to part of the conclusion, what I said, maybe we will not have to maintain the generator, the how to translate from spec to part of our SDK with those generator. I mean, of the subject, type, predicate, etc. context, but our SDK also include some generic tests, how to use the JSON schema, validate, etc. Maybe property-based testing. We also have the cloud event integration. Should we keep it or not? It's another question. And this kind, so generator should be able to create. Should we create our full own generator if I don't find yes or no, or just try to work with an existing one and follow the limitation of the template or having to learn the other? But in any case, I guess we will have to customize, just because today we have some quality in existing generator SDK, and it will be dommage. Sorry, I don't know. It will be not pain. A shame. I'm not sure to lose part of this quality or etc. And to know more about this part, it needs to invest more time digging in OpenAPI generator or CodeGen, etc. to know, because we have to learn the data model, etc. And also to know if it's interesting, because it means to, as I mentioned previously, to create a big breaking change in the way the API is constructed, because in this class I have more freedom. I create a predicate as a subtype, etc. I have a completely different approach in terms of object. One of the advantage of this approach, but it could be also managed by the pickle, as you show in the pickle demo, is to normalize reuse. It also could be done with .ref, and where it could join your demo. It's not the part you mentioned, but anyway, I guess we will need maybe some pickle, qlong, etc. Not to generate code, but maybe to create some linter to validate some rules. At the beginning of this meeting, we discussed about naming of fields, and today none of the existing linter could do it by default. Sorry, I was a bit long. Everything is
no worries,
available.
no worries. And David, thank you so much for doing, like, you went above and beyond on this demo. And I really appreciate all the work that you've done. So I definitely have some interesting thoughts, mostly around, like, how we can, move forward on the code generation aspects. I'm going to save that. So I'll update the GitHub issue with the table for Pickle. And if you haven't already done so for OpenAPI, And I think the goal for next week when we host the implementation SIG, let's come up with a plan to get started and moving towards a code or a more generation friendly modeling language in the implementation SIG. I think we have enough information now where I think we can start making some decisions. So I'm really excited for that. So yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, I hope.
And I see Rashid, you joined. Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, I'm good.
Cool.
What?
Are you new? I don't know if I've seen, are you new or have you been in one of the SIGs before?
Yeah, this is the second sync I will be joining. And most time I do join late, so there's the second time I'm joining and I joined late as well. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to get myself acquainted to what's going on and then trying to understand how things are moving. That's just the basic idea.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, we have this as a weekly SIG, and then now we have a bi-weekly implementation SIG, which this what you just saw was more of the implementation portion of it. But we actually had to cancel last week, so we're just demoing all of our findings. Like we're just trying to make the SDKs a little bit more maintainable and a little bit more usable to be honest. So yeah, but it's good to have you. Welcome and yeah, like I said, we're kind of coming to a close right now. But I saw you join like halfway in. I didn't want to interrupt the demo though. I just wanted to call you out, just call out that that we did see you. Just wanted to say hi. And do you have any questions or were you looking just to like kind of like to see what things were about?
Oh, sure. Definitely. I've joined the community on Slack. I'm currently on the Slack channel. As I explore the GitHub and then checking out the issues and the PR that we have there. If I have any issues, I'm checking them out. I'll definitely bring it up on the Slack channel. But at the moment, I don't have any question to ask. Yeah, I love what we are doing here. So great work, everybody.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you again, David. Like I said, I'll kind of put my thoughts in the GitHub issue, and then next week we can kind of decide on the path forward then. And I look forward to seeing everyone next week then. All right, have a good day, everyone. Bye, and thanks again, David.
I will add the link to the repository in the demo the meeting notes.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you.